There's a big shift that's happening in the real estate market in Los Angeles, but this is going to affect everyone around the country, not just in LA. One of them is the NAR settlement, which is the National Association of Realtors settlement. Those changes are going into effect on August 17th. So after August 17th, buying a house is going to be very, very different. I did a whole video about that, so make sure you check that out right here. If you have any questions about that, you can always comment here, or you can text me at 213-268-6832. So that is one major change that's going to happen industry-wide, but there are some other factors that are going to affect your purchasing power here in the Los Angeles area. One of the big things that just happened is that the inflation rate just went below 3% for the first time. It's at 2.9%, and it has been stubbornly high above 3% for the last year, and they have been keeping interest rates high because of that. The other big factor in the jobs report is that unemployment actually went up. So that, coupled with the fact that unemployment went up, there are really some strong indications that the Feds are going to be making rate cuts for the mortgage rates. Now, this is going to really affect you if you are thinking about buying a home. Much of this year, the interest rates were over 7%. And there were so many buyers that were used to seeing 3, 4, 5% interest rates when they shot up over 7 and even past 8% last October. A lot of buyers just freaked out and stopped looking. They just said, no way, this is too expensive for me. So they are on the sidelines, but they are starting to see some encouraging signs that these interest rate cuts, which are supposed to happen in September, are going to make a really big impact on future mortgage purchases. It makes a huge difference, especially in a really expensive market like Los Angeles. Every little point of your mortgage rate makes a big difference on your monthly payment. So as of today's filming, the mortgage rates are about 6.58 for a conventional 30-year mortgage and 6.4% for a 7 and 6 ARM, a 6.15% for a 15-year fix, and a jumbo loan is 6.74. Now, these are national rates. Some lenders do have other programs that are a little bit better of interest rates. And there's also a lot of tactics that you can use if you have the ability to get some closing costs from the seller. Say, for example, you're at 6.5% on a purchase, and you ask your seller to give you a concession, and you use that concession to buy down your interest rate. That is one easy way to get your interest rate down. But the good news is most economists are expecting that interest rates will continue to decline. Lawrence Yun, the chief economist from NAR, said mortgage rates are plunging on the news of weak job growth and rising unemployment. This is really good for you if you are thinking about purchasing a home in the rest of the year or in 2025. And how does that actually affect the market? You know, we already have a lot of pent-up demand for buyers who are on the sidelines, not ready to purchase a home because these interest rates are so high. But look at this chart right here. And you can see in the over 6.5% range, in the 7.5% range, demand is fairly weak to limited. But once we get under 6.5, you start getting really good demand, and those buyers start coming back out of the woodworks and into the marketplace. Let's talk about some home prices, and I'm going to talk nationally, and then I'm going to talk specifically about Los Angeles. Home prices are actually going to increase this year, and most economists are expecting that it's going to continue to increase, just not as crazy as the pandemic years. It is a very, very different market than what it was, but there is such low inventory and pent-up buyer demand that they are anticipating that prices are going to continue to appreciate. If you look at this chart here, out of the 7 economists, Fannie Mae is actually the most robust prediction here. They're anticipating a 6.1% appreciation, and then you have the MBA for 4.5, 4.3, 3.8. Then you have NAR, Zillow, and Freddie Mac at 1.6, 0.9, and 0.5. So the average of all 7 of those economists is 3.1% appreciation for the rest of this year, and then most likely into 2025 as well. Now, remember, I always talk about national versus local. There are some regions that might experience a decline in prices. As you can see, Lance Lambert, for the co-founder of Resi Club, even if the average national home price forecast for 2025 is correct, it is possible that some regional housing markets could see mild home price declines, while some markets could still see elevated appreciation. That has been, after all, the case this year. So as you can see, it varies region by region by region. Now, let me show you some local statistics. If you look at Silver Lake and Echo Park, that is a pretty substantial area, but we have only 82 active listings. Now, that is an increase since 50 back in February. But remember, Silver Lake and Echo Park is a really huge area. You would think that with a significant amount of inventory increase, that the days on the market was going to increase dramatically as well. Well, it didn't increase that much. Back in February, it was 41, and now it's actually 37. So it has actually gone down, and homes have actually sold faster than they did back in February. So it kind of defies logic that the increase in inventory, but there's a shorter days on the market. That means that there is pent-up demand that is still gobbling up this inventory pretty quickly. Now, same thing with LA County. LA County is absolutely massive. It is way bigger than most counties in the country. And you can see there's a significant increase in inventory as well from January of this year of 7,339 all the way up to 11,038 homes on the market. And you would think with that same dramatic increase in inventory that days on the market would be dramatically increased as well. However, if you look at this chart here, back in January, it was 56 days on the market that it took to sell a home. And now we're down to 37 days on the market. So even with our increase in inventory, we still are selling homes faster than we were back in January. And again, it all boils down to the amount of demand that we have. And if you're one of those buyers who are on the sidelines because you just didn't want to buy a home because the interest rates are too high, things are starting to get a little bit better in terms of the interest rate world. And you're starting to see more buyers coming out of the woodworks and into the marketplace starting to hunt. And the other thing about that is you're also starting to see sellers who have been waiting for interest rates to come down because they need to move, but they don't want to give up their 3, 4, 5% interest rates. Things are starting to shake up a little bit now, and sellers are starting to make moves. So that's another reason why you're seeing more increase in inventory. But again, that buyer demand is so pent up and there's so much desire for properties here that it's eating up that inventory fairly quickly. And one other thing I want to talk about in this video is the equity that a lot of homeowners have right now. Because of the huge appreciation that we had during the pandemic years, there are a lot of properties that have an incredible amount of equity. With that equity, that means that there's a possibility that you could be paying capital gains tax. Daniel Hale, the chief economist from Realtor.com, says, for most homeowners, the capital gains exclusion, which allows you to pocket the first $250,000 if you're single to $500,000 if you're married, in gains on the sale of your home without having to pay taxes on them, means that you are likely to pay taxes on the proceeds from your home. But homeowners who have lived in their home for a long time or have seen substantial home gains should be aware of the potential tax impact. I'm seeing this a lot. And if you look at this chart, specifically in California, we pay more capital gains tax than any other state in the country. And that mostly has to do with how much our state has appreciated in home pricing. As always, I tell my clients to talk to a tax professional. I am not a tax professional, and everyone's situation is a little bit different. So definitely talk to your accountant about how a sale is going to impact your taxes and your capital gains. Because if you've profited more than $500,000, you're going to pay capital gains taxes on that. So just make sure that you are talking to your tax professional anytime you're thinking about selling. Now, if you're thinking about selling, the National Association of Realtors settlement that is going into effect on August 17th is going to affect sellers just as much as it is going to affect buyers. If you're thinking about selling your home and you want an idea of what your home is worth, just click on the link down below and you can input your information and it'll automatically send you an instant home value and give you ideas of how much you can rent your house out for. Is it better to short-term rental? How much equity you have? Ultimately, I would love to see the property to give you my professional opinion, because that isn't a computer-generated automated model, but seeing it in person, it will make a huge difference and I'll give you a more accurate idea of what your home is worth. But all of that said, if you want to have a conversation with me, just give me a call at 213-268-6832, or you can click on the link and schedule a Zoom call with me. There are tons of things happening in our Los Angeles real estate market. And if you were looking to buy or sell, I'd be more than happy to help you out. Again, my name is Felipe Crook with EXP Realty, investing in your dreams.